welcome back to Across the Bifrost. I am joined by the lovely Finley. Hello, Finley.
Hello.
Hello. This is a Web Warriors, I guess, celebratory episode because, Finn, you recently went all the way up to Cambridge with me and you won an event.
I did indeed. It was good fun.
Sons of War in Crisis. Sons of War in Crisis 2. Didn't realise this was a sequel event, actually. Now I've said that.
Yeah, I guess we missed the first one.
We missed the first one, but yeah.
Oh, well.
So we're going to talk to you about Web Warriors. It's worth mentioning as well that didn't you just come off the back of like a horrific defeat in Brighton?
I did indeed. Yeah, I went 1-3 in Brighton with a very similar list to this one.
Yeah, cool. So you were a bit down. I'll be honest. I stayed at yours the night before, and we were talking about it, and you were feeling a bit down about life, but MCP and Web Warriors. So yeah, how are you kind of feeling about Web Warriors before this day?
I was feeling good about Web Warriors. I think one of the things with webs that is good is the ceiling of webs is so high. So if I have a very poor performance, the reason is usually that I made a mistake or I didn't know something. And that's quite a good feeling, actually, although it can be quite rough in the moment. You have a lot to reflect on and try and learn from bad experiences to try and sort of get better. So
yeah, I do actually want to talk about that because that's quite a good topic, I think, about MCP. So I was playing X-Men for a while and wasn't quite winning many games. And I was blaming X-Men. I was like, it's because they're crap. And, it turns out I've now learned that actually they're probably a lot better and I was just not very good. But the characters kind of fell over a bit and there's a few like every affiliation has a few redundancies. You have to take some characters just because you're affiliated. And the one affiliation in the game that the two affiliations in the game that didn't have that problem were Web Warriors, and we'll get into why definitely in this episode, and also Hellfire Club. So I moved to Hellfire Club to be like, I want to lose games because I made mistakes, not because my characters are bad.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a much better place to be in, I think.
I think so, yeah. I think some people would disagree. I think some people don't like that pressure. Me and you know some people that don't like playing top tier teams because when they lose, it's because it's their fault and they don't like that.
Yeah, it's an odd position to be in, but I don't know. I do really like it because you have that level of, you can always learn to be better. And I think even, and we'll get into probably some more of the specifics, but even in the tournament going 4-0, I definitely made mistakes in those games and still managed to come out on top. So there is still room for improvement. Yeah,
for sure. And a team like Web Warriors are very, very strong and give you the opportunity to do that. And obviously it still takes a lot of player skill, but they are a very strong team. And I think, it's kind of an interesting thing just for anyone listening to this, trying to figure out what to play next. Maybe that's a question to ask yourself. Would you rather, play a really strong team and you're kind of the reason things go bad, or would you rather, play something where you can play really well, but the dice don't go your way? You still, you're kind of relying on dice, as every team is in MCP. There's no way to avoid dice. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting, two sides of the fence, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, yes, let's talk about Web Warriors then. So your roster, I'm going to start with the characters. So I have in front of me, we have Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ghost Spider, Spectacular Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Black Cat, Lizard, Nick Fury, Scarlet Spider, Toad, or Mortimer Toynbee, as we all know him, obviously.
What?
That's his name.
Never heard that before.
It's on his card, Mortimer Toynbee, and Wong. So yeah, let's start with the big meat in this spidery sandwich. So Miles Morales, Ghost Spider, and Spectacular Spider-Man, and Black Cat. Should we talk about them?
Yes, let's talk about them. I never leave home without them, honestly. I play them every single game because they are quite possibly the 4 best 3 threats that exist, and they are all affiliated.
Yeah.
Need I say any more?
Yeah, I will say that when you see people first getting into Web Warriors, they tend to not take those 4 characters, and I think that's a mistake. But I'm no Web Warriors player, so would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, yeah. I mean, I definitely think there is play in the others, but sometimes, I've had more success thinking about it less and just always putting them in, to be really honest, yeah. Because and we'll get into the mirror match later, but that is something that if you think too much about the characters you want to include, it can make your roster worse. It can make the squad that you're playing worse. Whereas keeping it simple and running those 4, being as wide as possible, it just gives you so many tools, basically.
Yeah. So that the wide thing, is it always the case that Web Warriors want to go as wide as possible?
I think you always want to be wider than your opponent. So it probably depends on the matchup. Because if you think, I mean, in the days of Thanos Cabal, a 15 threat, you know exactly what they're going to bring. So you probably might try and make a decision to be only 4 wide rather than 3.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I don't know what you would include. You probably still would go 5 wide at 15 threat with all the best 3 threats.
Yeah.
And just try and score fast and live.
Yeah. The advice I normally have for people when trying a new affiliation is choose your core and just never deviate. Like at first anyway, while you're learning, like especially spider foes, when you're learning spider foes, just play Doc Hot Rhino Lizard. Like they are phenomenal characters. Play them every single game. And then once you understand the faction more, then you can switch things out and, get clever with it. I think that's key. And I think it seems like you think the same for Web Warriors. So always take Miles, Ghost Spider, Spectacular Spider-Man and Black Cat, at least while you're starting out.
Yeah, I'd say 100% because, I mean, that's only 12 threat. So you can still add so many good characters to that when that sort of the threat gets higher than that. And there's a lot that you can learn with how to play. And I'm certainly not an expert on how to play these characters, but in terms of each of them individually have quite a different play pattern to one another. They all do a slightly different thing, but it still benefits the web's game plan. So yeah, I think just learning those 4 would be the best place to start, definitely.
Nice. Okay, cool. So let's jump down to Toad and Wong. So Web Warriors are one of the very few teams that run double 2 threats. Do you think that's key here?
I have actually never been in the scenario where I've ran both 2 threats at once.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Now that could be because it hasn't come up, or I've decided not to and lost because of it. So this is, this is uncharted territory for me. But I think there are definitely scenarios where I think if you want to be really wide, what would it be? I guess it's 16 threat. You could run that 12 threat core, and then you could run Toad and Wong, and you would be 6 wide at 16 threat, which could be really threatening to a team that doesn't have the damage to finish you off at 16 threat. I used them in different scenarios. So I played Toad when there was a midline grab that I could threaten. So I could pick up with Toad round 1, maybe hide behind a piece of terrain and be awkward. And then your opponent can't threaten him. Or if they can get in range, they can maybe only do 1 attack. He's likely to live and slippery away, which is just a nightmare for your opponent.
And obviously under Miles Morales, which I'm assuming, spoilers, you're running that leadership more often.
Yeah, I run Miles Morales leadership pretty much every single game.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, under that, Toad has a little bit more survivability with a reroll.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And then sort of on the other side of that, I run Wong when there's a secure that he can sit on. He can give someone a power turn 1. So he could give Gwen a power so that she can just double move and pull someone off a point, or move and she immediately has the what's it even called? The Webline, the other one, the Lifesaver. That's the one. She immediately has Lifesaver online with that extra power, which is really strong. Or Miles, give him a power to go and just do his web swing and kick someone in the face immediately.
Yeah, it's worth noting. Yeah, a lot of the Web Warriors, in fact, maybe all of them, all of that core, their power economy is so strict and so tight. So Spectacular Spider-Man, it was actually Pat Dunford that got me into him when he explained that, because it's all gainers, you just do gainers with him. So you gain 1 power and it just turns his kit online, and you know exactly what you could do with him, exactly what's possible. And that applies to every single Web Warrior. It seems to be that's the theme of the affiliation, is like they can calculate their power really easily with their gainers. So Wong just turns that on. Yeah, like you say, Wong giving a power to basically anyone, just activates them immediately round 1, lets them do something. Yeah. Ghost Spider with Webline, can displace any size character. And because she's a long mover, you can just deploy her in the middle. Wong gives her 1 power, and she can double move to any point on the map and pull someone off any point on the map. It's huge.
Yeah, it is absolutely massive. And also Wong synergizes really well because of his other ability, which I will just double check what it is called. The Vishanti's Blessing, that's it. So he can heal within range 3. He can heal 2 health or 1 special condition. Now this is massive for webs because they really hate being slowed or poisoned, or basically any condition under the sun. They hate it, but especially slow and poison. And also they only have 5 health. So if you can give them 2 health back, then that can be the difference between winning and losing an entire game, really, because they stay alive.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Black Cat as well, right? Black Cat has that defensive tech where you can't explode crits into her, which means she's really hard to actually hurt. So if Wong's healing Black Cat, you're undoing quite a lot of effort that your opponent's put in.
Yeah, exactly. Wong can be incredibly clutch in Web Warriors.
Yeah, Wong seems like the kind of missing affiliated 2-threat here. Although we have seen Peter Borker now, we've seen Spider-Ham, so they have a 2-threat coming. That's probably for another episode. We'll talk about that. But I think Wong in this list, Wong might as well have a little like Spider-Man T-shirt on because he's basically affiliated. He's so good.
Absolutely. Same as Toad. They could both have little Spider-Man masks.
Yeah, that's an idea. Maybe you should do that.
Yeah, I think Connor's done that. I think he's got some spider masks on his. I think it's Beta Ray Bill and Toad or something.
Nice, that's fun.
I need to copy it.
Yeah. Great. Okay, cool. So we have the other affiliated characters. We've got Amazing Spider-Man. There's 5-threat Peter Parker. So why or when do you bring this character?
So that is a great question. And that is something that I'm honestly struggling with at the moment, is when ASM fits and what he achieves. Because the 12-threat core is so strong, and being wider than your opponent is how I prefer to play because it gives you more opportunities to score more VPs than your opponent. Now, I think ASM is really good on pay-to flips. He offers a safe grab, and he is generally tanky, and he can also absolutely murder someone with all webbed up. He can go insanely ham. So he is a great character, but at 5-threat, sometimes I'd prefer to have a 3-threat splash and a 2-threat splash and that 12-threat core. So ASM is currently in the 5-threat slot for me, where it's more of like a specific scenario. So I was also toying with putting Juggernaut in there for Fisk because he's immune to stun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen 2099. He's been spoiled, so I think it's possible that he takes that slot, and I'll try that with him. So this is a slot that for me is kind of flexible.
Yeah.
ASM does have some really good tech, but I don't like it personally. Maybe I'm not very good with him, but it's just never worked out for me overly consistently.
Yeah, I mean, he's also a pay to flip option because he gets power for crits, so he can, he's quite good on pay to flips.
Yeah, exactly. That is one of the things that is really good for him. But even on some pay to flips, like I think I did play Guardians Save Shi'ar, one of the newer crises, which is a pay to flip. I did play that, and I opted not to take him because one, it was now been changed to just 3 dice, so his high strength and energy doesn't actually matter for the contesting. And just being wider was better because I could go last and flip something that my opponent couldn't.
Yeah, that's the problem with webs, right? Is that they're just so good at being wider because of that cheap core. And Amazing Spider-Man's biggest weakness is the alias rule because he's competing with Spectacular Spider-Man, who is one of the best 3-threats in the game.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think if Spectacular wasn't in the list, then, or if Spectacular didn't exist even, then ASM would be played. But I think Spectacular is just, again, he's one of the best 3-threats in the game. He does so much for your scoring. He can displace so many characters per turn and get anywhere if he has the power. It's hard to argue with that when ASM, sometimes he could web swing, double attack, not even kill someone and not displace them. And you're thinking, well, that's my 5-threat. Look at him go. Yeah.
But then, like you say, because the threat, like the lower threat characters in Web Warriors are so packed with value, it's hard to justify a 5-threat because you can just do a 3 and a 2 instead, right? And that 3 is going to be Spectacular Spider-Man because they're the same guy, and then a Toad or a Wong, who are the 2 best 2-threats in the game. So I can see why you would struggle with him and knowing when to play him.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah. Cool. We also have one of my favorite characters in the game that very rarely sees the table, Scarlet Spider.
Well, you'll be pleased to hear he didn't hit the table at the weekend.
Proving my point perfectly.
So he is really cool. He is really cool Spider-Man. That much I will say. He does have a slight problem in that his movement on Web Whip, which is sort of replaces Web Swing on most webs, and it's now Web Whip, which is displacement, and it moves him as well, which is really good. But your opponent can play around it by keeping him out of range. So he does have some really good tech on round 1, where you could give him a power with Wong, and he can double move and Web Whip someone off a point and put himself on it, which is tech that you actually told me, which I think is really interesting. It's really cool. But then the trouble is, what does he do after he's done that on rounds 2 onwards? He's less consistent, and your opponents can play around it. And he really needs the power, which he doesn't really gain with his 5 dice attack.
Yeah. Does he not have a gainer?
He does have, so he does have the impact webbing.
Oh, it's the impact webbing, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
so, and that is, again, that's a fantastic attack, don't get me wrong. But because he basically, his like best turn is he has 5 power, and he can Web Whip and displace someone, sizeless displacement, and then he can do the proportionate strength of a spider and throw someone else, and then sit on a point. That's a really good turn for webs in terms of displacement and scoring, but that requires 5 power, and he's not gaining that very easily unless he's just been dazed.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I suppose it's like, if you could just sort of put him anywhere on a map, maybe you want to put him against like 2 other characters. So he's got some fighting that he can do and gain some power he can gain, and he can displace both those characters. But then he's also at risk of being beaten up by those 2 characters. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is 433, 6 health with Spider Sense, and under miles, like, he is tanky, so he does have that going for him. But yeah, I feel like there are just 4 threats that do more than he does, and they don't do, because he like Scarlet Spider already does what the Web Warriors, that 12 threat core, do really well. So he does that slightly worse, but at 4 threat.
Yeah.
So it's hard to fit him in, because if I'm looking at a 4 threat, there is another person in the roster who is very, very good.
Yeah. Should we get on to the other 4 threat then?
Let's do it. Let's get into Nick Fury.
Yeah. So Nick Fury, this worth mentioning, his character comes with grunts. Has the what are they called? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah, that's it.
So when do you bring Nick along?
So I think that actually contributing to my 1 and 3 performance in Brighton was one of the reasons, is I took Nick too much, because he's really fun, he's really cool. Yeah. But sometimes I think you don't take him. I took him only once at the weekend where I went 4-0, and that was because it was 16 threats, and I had the 12 threat core, and I was like, do you know what, I'll just slap Nick in there. Because he has the grunts, and because the grunts can pick up an extract, he almost represents 2 characters.
Yeah.
And they can do some really annoying stuff where, if you didn't know, with the grunts, they can interact with extracts, and when they get KO'd, I choose where the extracts drop, which is so strong for webs, because they can be really aggressive, and they're a medium-based medium move as well, so they could pick up your opponent's home F extract, and then your opponent obviously kills them, then you drop it back, and then you can just go pick that up with one of your annoying web warriors.
Yeah.
They're also really good midline grab. You can go with Nick Fury and the grunts, and you can pick up 2 extracts in 1 turn. And that's just so strong for the web's game plan, because you're going up on extracts potentially if you don't even have prio, because your opponent picks up 1, you pick up 2, and if it's a 5 extract map, then you end up going up because you've got 2 in 1 turn.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it's a nice trick. Someone highlighted to me that Nick is great on the C-shape extract, so like Alien Ship and Deadly Legacy, because if you have prio, you obviously grab the 2. If you don't have prio, you can grab the remaining 2. So you can't go down, basically, unless they're also playing Nick Fury. That's where
you get the problem.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I think that's a good solution as well for webs, because the biggest weakness for a crisis team is when you win priority and you get your secures, and if you end up on Alien Ship or Deadly Legacy, it's quite a low scoring extract. So it really slows the game down, which is not what you want. Web Warriors want to win in round 3. So Nick kind of helps with that. He kind of equalizes it a bit.
Yeah, no, 100%. He just has the full package. He doesn't have any displacement, which is one thing that doesn't lead into the web's game plan. He can throw so much damage with his spender and his builder and his gainer, even all of it. It's all so much damage.
Yeah, he absolutely murders when he's in the right position. His positioning is quite important. But yeah, when Nick's got a bit of power, which he can get quite easily because the grunts generate power and stuff if you keep them near each other, he can really throw a lot of dice. It's pretty crazy.
Yes, exactly. And to top things off, he brings one of the best tactics cards in the entire game, Eye in the Sky.
Yeah.
Which, again, if Webs need any more defensive tactics cards, this is what you bring. It's so good. Nick pays 3 power, and you can advance away at the point of being targeted, which, unlike fullback, this will stop the attack.
Mm-hmm.
So you can keep your Web Warriors alive even more, which is just so useful. It's definitely won me games before.
Yeah, Eye in the Sky is huge, and it's exactly what Web Warriors want. They want to grab an extract and then just run away as much as they can, and it keeps them alive. And yeah, you've got this coupled with, we'll get into the tactics card next, but you've got this coupled with Spider Tracker and Fallback in your list. Like, you've just got so many ways of being like, no, don't, you can't hit me, you can't hit me.
yeah, exactly. Classic Web's game plan, just run away.
Yeah, it's great.
Swing around, run away.
Yeah, cool. Okay, good job, Nick. And then the last character to talk about, Lizard.
Yeah. So I've been jumping around with whether I'm bringing Lizard or Baron Zemo, because they are 2 of the best 3 threats again in the game.
Yeah,
I've settled on Lizard because he is a medium-based medium mover, so he can do that move that I mentioned the grunts can do, where they double move onto your opponent's F, secure, or extract, and they can either pick up the extract or just sit on there and contest it, which means your opponent either has to put 2 characters there, they have to deal with Lizard. It's basically just a problem for your opponent. And I'm not committing very much because it's just Lizard. Lizard might even live, which often he does if I'm choosing to deploy him on the side where your opponent has less damage.
Yeah.
So he's just so tanky, and then he's just great at holding an extract. Once he loses the extract, he can still play the secure game with his throw, which I will double check what the name of the throw is. Biochemical Breakthrough.
Nice. Very good.
Fantastic throw. It's range 2, size 3, throw small.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've been playing some Hellfire recently, the new Hellfire with like the affiliation list, and I still bring Lizard with me because he's just amazing. And it really is just, here's a problem for your opponent to solve, right? It's like, I'm grabbing your extract, and now you need to try and kill one of the tankiest 3 threats in the game. If you don't, he's going to run away and heal up because he's got healing factor. And if you do, you've got quite an angry Lizard on your backline who can do some good things. His spender's not bad as well.
Yeah,
like, gives out slow
people, and he can push people with his tail whip as well. So he can actually, if he's lucky, he could displace 3 people a turn and then stand on a secure. It's not very likely, but it's possible.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think Lizard's job is just to kind of survive, and then with Miles Morales' leadership, you're just helping him out. Cool. All right, that's Lizard. So let's quickly go on to tactics cards. All Webbed Up. Tell us about that.
All Webbed Up is one of the best Web's tactics cards. It basically means that for one round, I'm going to completely switch my game plan. So most of the time, the game plan is pick up extracts, run away. And then even sometimes I'll use it on one character because I know my opponent has a character that needs to die. I'll play All Webbed Up. It gives them slow. And then for this round, any web warrior who's attacking a character with slow, I add 2 dice to that attack. Now, this means I can be throwing such large dice pools into my opponents that it's pretty much guaranteed that I should kill them, which means that if I've lost some extracts, some characters have been dazed, and I really need to get the extracts back, I can play All Webbed Up and I can just beat the crap out of my opponent, basically.
Yeah. The timing on this card is what's scariest about it. Is the general game plan with Webs is like round 1, you go up on points because you can, displace people. You've got all your extract tricks, so you go up on points round 1. Round 2, you're playing keep away, and your opponent's trying to kill you, and they might daze a couple characters. And then round 3, you play All Webbed Up, and you go, right, well, now it's the whole like, call an ambulance, but not for me. You just turn around and like, just absolute violence ensues. The idea is that you've scored so many points that in that round where you daze everyone with this All Webbed Up card, you suddenly go really violent. You've then scored so much they can't come back, right, for a round 4.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if things go really poorly, All Webbed Up can completely save you. If you've got a black cat who's within range 2 of someone, and you've got Miles who's sort of within range 3 as well, he'll play All Webbed Up. He can web swing, and he can suddenly do an 8 dice web line kick. Black cat can do 2 6 dice cat claws with the pierce. They can just represent so much damage. But I've even used it in the past where I've been ahead on extracts and I've still had the extracts. I haven't had anyone daze. I think it was on a D map or something, and I played all webbed up literally just to slow my opponent and just double moved away. I didn't attack anyone, and that slow can be devastating.
Yeah, especially on the right map, right? I'm guessing you're bringing, we'll get to it, but you're bringing, spread out D maps. So if you slow and then slow someone and move, web swing away, they're never seeing you again. Like they are out of it. You might as well have dazed them for that character, right?
It's pretty mean.
Yeah, it's great. So all webbed up. It's got to be an every game card, right?
Yes, I didn't bring it one game because I messed up. I thought I had, and I really missed it. So
okay, nice. All right, there you go. Make sure you bring it, everyone.
Yeah, bring it. Don't be like me. Bring it.
Get a little paperclip and put it on Miles Morales' character card. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So on to the next one, Spider Tracker.
Oh, this card is fantastic. This is, again, probably an every game card. So when an enemy ends a move action within range 4 of a web warrior, you pay 2 and you could advance small. Now, this can ruin so many characters because they charge towards you, you move away, they're suddenly out of range of the attack, and they've spent an action on it. So I've used this against Namor. He's a massive culprit for getting screwed by this. Baron Zemo, Shang-Chi, it can really ruin a lot of characters.
Juggernaut as well. Quick rules check on Juggernaut. So Juggernaut has oh no, wait, it does work for him. But basically, when he moves, he gains 2 power and he adds 2 dice to his next attack. He'll move, trigger Spider Tracker. You'll be out of his range, presumably. But then, because it says his next attack, when he eventually does make an attack, he will get those dice.
Okay. That's
so that works. But like Namor and Baron Zemo, the charges, when they charge in, they've paid for it already before they even moved, and they've spent the action to get the move. And then if you Spider Tracker, they can't get their action refunded.
Yeah, exactly. This again is so game winning because not only have I double moved away and web swung, you've chased me, you've charged, and then I've played Spider Tracker, so I'm even further away and you're not getting an attack. Again, it's just more ways to keep going with that game plan, stay alive, score your points. A couple of notable things, though, if you're playing this, it's only move action. So if someone has Agent Venom is a good example. He's great killing web warriors. You can web swing, and that doesn't trigger Spider Tracker. So then he's obviously fine, and he can shoot your whole team and kill everybody.
Yeah, it's also for things like Steel Rush on Baron Zemo and Claw Rush on X-23. Those attacks give them an advance, and that is not a move action. So that will get you around this as well.
Yeah.
Spider Tracker is the most frustrating card to play against, and I think it's also the hardest card to master in Web Warriors. Would you agree?
Possibly, yeah, possibly could be.
Just knowing when to use it.
Yeah, I think my general rule, and I think this is something that possibly Nick Cork even told me, is that if you have these tactics cards, you only really want to use them if they're going to guarantee you a victory point. Yeah. Because that's how you win. And if you waste one of these cards that keeps you alive, then you can put yourself in a really dangerous position. Yeah, Pat Dunford actually has a good allegory for that, of like how to judge if a tactics card is good is it should amount to a VP. So because then you've got 5 VPs in your tactics card slots that you can win. That's really good actually. Yeah, so it's quite a good way to judge, when to use it and what cards to take. Yeah, and I suppose that's probably the strength of the Web Warriors tactics cards, is that so often, probably all of the 5 I'm bringing, they will relate to a VP. Yeah, they're very good at converting that, of converting bonus movement to a VP. Yeah, definitely. Suddenly, Eye in the Sky makes a lot of sense here. Yes, 100%. Some affiliations, it's less clear to see how the tactics cards could win you points. Yeah, big time. Cool. Okay, so now we have the Cat and the Spider. Yes. So I love that this card's around. This card's hilarious because this card's been around forever and no one played it because Amazing Spider-Man wasn't very good. And now we have Spectacular Spider-Man and it's Peter Parker that can play this card. Yeah, well, even I suppose also if it could only be played on ASM, he is a safe grab, so he doesn't need the card. Good point. So why would you bring it if it can only be him? So that's a good point. Wasn't needed. But now you've got a 3-threat Peter Parker. So this gives you the turn 1 safe grab. So basically you can activate with Black Cat. She'll move within 2 of Peter Parker. They'll both pay 1 power. Black Cat will get thrown medium and she can interact with an objective. So basically she's just used 1 action and 1 power to get to the middle and pick up an extract. Mm-hmm. She can then move backwards and be safe. So it represents a safe grab for webs if you have prio, which can be really very strong. Yeah, big time.
This is also probably, actually, I think, this card is a big part of the reason why Amazing Spider-Man has been replaced. Because, you're right. Yeah. This is just a safe grab with 2 characters that you're taking every game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. So sorry, go on.
I was going to say, so it can put you in a bit of a pickle because it costs 1 power from both characters. So Black Cat, she's paid her power, picked up her extract, and she's on a point, so she's happy. But then Peter Parker is just sitting there doing nothing. So this is where sometimes I've quite liked to use Wong and put an extra power on Peter Parker, so he can still go and do webs things and possibly pick up an extract or threaten a impact webbing and a web swing to get onto another secure.
Yeah. Can Wong give Peter Parker a power and then have power to pick up himself?
No, I don't think so. I think the thing with Wong is that it's basically his entire activation. He has to meditate to get himself onto 2 power, and then it costs 2 power for him to pass 1.
Okay, cool.
So typically, a good Wong game is, you can see it in the Crisis, is if you can have him so that he only has to medium move once to get onto your home secure.
Yeah.
So then you can deploy him within 3 of your ally who you want to give a power to. He can do his meditate, and he can just move and sit there the whole game, and he's happy.
Cool. Okay, nice. All right, great. So that's Cat and the Spider. Now we have Fallback and Brace. Probably not worth talking about these. They're great cards, right?
Yeah, we can move on from those.
Yeah. Fallback is, there's obvious why it's there. We just talked about, any way webs have of avoiding getting attacked means they win. So we've got Eye in the Sky, which we've spoken about. Aunt May's Wheat Cakes.
Now this is a card which I would also say is essential for any Web Warriors roster. It has to be in the 10 because it even more so now in the current meta. But essentially, the main benefit of this card is for the Web Warriors mirror match, because you can pay 1 power, and any Web Warrior who's paid 1 power will remove slow and remove 1 damage. Now this links back into the all webbed up turn. If you have 2 Web Warriors teams against one another, they've used all webbed up and they've slowed 3 or 4 of your characters. They'll only get that one activation where they get 2 Web Warriors all webbed up attacks, and then you can play Wheat Cakes and remove slow from everyone. You heal up, so it's almost like that didn't happen, or at least didn't happen quite as badly. It also now in the current meta has even more use for the Apocalypse match. Now Apocalypse is a pretty strong Web Warriors counter because they give so many conditions, but you can remove slow with this card, so it helps massively. Again, I messed up and I forgot to take it, and I wish I had. So learn from my mistakes. Take Wheat Cakes against Apocalypse.
Nice. Yeah, I like that you mentioned the mirror match, because this is game winning. Well, not game winning, but it stops their best tactics card all webbed up. It kind of cuts it in half. They'll still get 1 activation probably with it.
Yes, they should. And sometimes with all webbed up, that is all you need. Most of the time, it's 1 character that needs to die, so you'll just go ham with Miles and hope you get it. But because you have all the other characters who normally get the attacks, you kind of give yourself that guarantee. If you're taking that away, then it is really strong.
Yeah, nice. Okay, great. We have another Web Warriors card, a newer one, Masked Menace.
Ah, yes. So this is a very fun card. Again, I didn't play it because it's just one of the ones where the 9 cards I'm bringing are so good that I didn't know what else to take.
Yeah.
But essentially, this card, you pay 1 power and you can put out a camera token. And then if you deal damage to an enemy with anything that your character does within range 3 of that camera token, you gain a power. Mm-hmm. So the fun thing about this is that it actually means that if you're doing throws where you're throwing 2 characters together, you're suddenly gaining 2 power, because I believe it's for each enemy that they deal damage with. Deal damage to an enemy with an attack. So if you throw 2 enemies into each other, you gain 2 power, and you're effectively only paying 1 power.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got some serious play.
Yeah. That's crazy strong. Yeah, that's great.
The trouble is, it doesn't quite fit with the Web's game plan, and the rest of the cards you're bringing are so good that I've only run it once, and I lost that game, but I did run it, but not at the weekend anyway. I mean, just in history, I've won it once.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the problem with this card, I remember seeing it when it was revealed, and I was like, that seems incredibly strong, but you have to be so smart to play that card, because like I said at the start, the economy on Web Warriors is so exact. I bet there are players out there that can really figure out the puzzle of like, okay, so if Spectacular activates with 3 power, he can throw for 3 power, gain 1, which means he can then impact webbing, which means he can then web swing, and then if the impact webbing does damage, he's got an extra power. So like this, it's like that. The meme, where all the maths is in the air, like from the Zach Galifianakis meme. It's like that. I feel like a real genius person could probably figure out exactly what all this extra power could achieve. Too much thinking for me.
For me as well.
For me as well. But yeah, it's a great card. It's very fun and thematic as well because they're little like webbed up cameras all over the map. I love it. It's great. They're all
I use that
pictures.
as my VP tracker at the moment.
Yeah, nice.
The little camera.
That's cool. Yeah, great card. Very good card. Cool. And then we have Survival and Warpath, which I'm assuming are just kind of chucked in just because they're good.
Yes. So Survival, I've actually been running quite a lot.
Okay.
Because I think it is, again, it leads into the Web's game plan. You will most likely have a turn where you've had 2 or maybe even 3 Web Warriors days, and your opponent could still have priority. And that's when Survival is crucial.
Yeah.
In one of the games, this was how I ended up not taking all webbed up because I prioritized Survival over all webbed up, which was arguably a mistake, but I did really like having Survival. So I think it is really good in there. Yeah,
Survival is especially good on Black Cat because if you're usually playing Survival into like a team that's like 3 wide, 4 wide, like mega attrition, and they're just there to murder you. And if they manage to daze Black Cat, and if she's sort of surrounded by them, she can play Survival and then do Troublemaker twice and stagger 2 models, which is crazy. Like, especially if they're 3 or 4 wide, you're taking away like 25% of their actions by doing that. So yeah, I find that I really liked that in Hellfire in particular.
Yes, yeah, no, I bet.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Warpath, anything worth mentioning there?
Warpath, I think I just stole it from Connor. I think he had it in his, and I was like, oh, that could be good because if your opponent's playing a similar game plan, like I guess if maybe it's good for the Web's mirror. I didn't use it, but I suppose the theory is if they impact webbing you and they push your Web Warrior off a point, you can just Warpath straight back on. But it does require them to deal damage with the impact webbing, so it's not even that consistent.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is a bit of a throwaway card, but I think it definitely has play. But someone smarter than me has probably figured out where that is.
Yeah, I can see it working in the mirror. Yeah, you're right. Just to stop some displacement, maybe. Yeah. Great. Okay, cool. So we'll move on to the crisis cards now. I'll bundle the secures together because I think they're pretty self-explanatory. So we've got Riot, Spark, Superpower Scoundrels, and Cosmic Invasion.
Yeah. So they're all basically just trying to do the same thing, and they're spread out, or they keep me alive in terms of Scoundrels with the cover, or they give me power, and they displace you a little bit with Cosmic Invasion. It's basically just spread out, lots of points to be scored, and I can play it better than my opponent in most cases.
Yeah, I think Webs are probably the best D-map team in the game.
Yeah.
Because of Web Swing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, cool. Nice. And then your extracts, you have Spider Infected, Senators, and Struggle for the Cube.
Yes. So this is a very similar strategy. There's just a lot of victory points to score. Especially with the F extracts, if there's a midline, even if I don't have prio, it's quite likely that I can still go up on extracts, either by using Nick or diving their F extracts and posing a threat for them. So the strategy is really just grab all of the extracts and then try and stay alive or run away and displace them to score faster.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I like these extracts because, if you lose priority and you're on their secures, you can just dump loads of points onto the table. Like Senators is such a well, we're on your secures, but there's 6 guys in the middle now where I can score points off of.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another example of where Nick Fury is really strong with Senators because the grunts can go and take your opponent's Senator, and then Nick can pick up one of his own Senators.
Yeah.
So then suddenly I'm picking up 2 straight away, and then your opponent has to deal with the grunts, and then I've got someone else most likely to go after and pick up that extract. So I should be able to go up 4-2 sometimes on Senators.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Cool. All right. Well, there's the roster. So now let's get into the rounds. The games that we played.
Let's get into the rounds.
So round 1, you're up against Joel on Apocalypse.
Indeed. So this was the game where I forgot to take wheat cakes. The second that we deployed, and he slowed my first character, I was like, oh god damn it, I wish I had that. I wish I had. But this was a really good game. It was Guardians save Shiar, whatever you call it, that paid to flip, and Spider Infected. He had Apocalypse, Magic, Deadpool, Beast, and Toad. And then I just went for the classic Miles, Gwen, Black Cat, Spectacular, Lizard, and Toad. So I had one more character than him, which I think just overall gave me the advantage there in terms of I was activating last. I could move, I could flip the points after he'd flipped them. And I had Toad, I think, to pick up the midline and just be frustrating, basically.
Yeah, nice.
But
So,
always a fun game against Joel. It was really
Joel's great. Yeah, Joel's like a local hero here, and it was his first time out with Apocalypse as well. But don't feel for him, because next round he beat me 16-5 on Apocalypse. I was playing Sentinels, and he just kicked the hell out of me. So he got his revenge.
Well deserved.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people would say that Apocalypse is a decent counter to webs. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think they take a lot of pay to flips, which webs are good at. But the thing with Apocalypse is that they'll cover you in conditions.
Yeah.
So you're just struggling to even stay alive, and then they're flipping everything.
Yeah.
That's sort of their game plan, which can be very tricky against webs. I've been absolutely destroyed by Apocalypse the first time I played into that Apocalypse. And I think my opponent even took Pyro, he's not even a horseman. He just wanted to bring Pyro and give me root as well. It was awful.
Root and slow on the webs is horrific.
Yeah, exactly. Which is where I think in this matchup it is crucial to have weak cakes, and something that I think if I will remember going forward. Because I've played, I think I've only played 3 games into Apocalypse, and every time I keep thinking, I should have brought weak cakes, and I keep forgetting. So maybe one day I'll learn.
Nice. Okay, great. So, meanwhile, while this game was going on, I was getting my head kicked in by a guy called Peter Hughes on Guardians. I was playing Sentinels. I learned that Groot can throw Sentinels around. So that was sad. And then you played him in the second round. So let's go on to that game.
Lovely segue.
So you and Peter, Peter's on Guardians and you're on Spider Infected and Deadline to Destruction. So I would have thought that Deadline to Destruction was an anti-webs secure, until I played it and realized it basically plays like a D map, but a bit closer.
Yeah, so it's a bit more dangerous than a D map because you can't. So he brought Yondu in this game, which was really interesting. So you can't sit safely on your sort of side, and it's not D, but the side further in D. You can't sit away from someone with a range 5 attack and then still be on the secure. So Yondu was great here because he was just sitting right at the back. And he could just plink attacks, and there was basically nothing I could do about it, except for obviously my stealth characters and all of the other fun web stuff. But it does play a lot like a D. I chose to take Nick Fury here because it was 16 threat. So this was where I had that 12 threat core of the 4 best web warriors and Nick Fury. And Nick Fury basically just did absolute work this game.
Really?
Yeah, he just went absolutely bonkers. I know I said I wasn't going to get into the specifics too much, but Nick Fury had an insane turn where he flipped with priority. So he was injured and then flipping that round. And he KO'd Star-Lord, and then he dazed full to 0 Nova. And in doing so, he also picked up 2 extracts. So
with the grunts.
Yeah, with the grunts, because I think the previous round, Star-Lord had dazed and I put the extract out of the way. So he just spawned the grunts in, they picked that up straight away. And then he just killed everything.
Nice.
And I think it was after that moment where me and Peter basically just looked at each other and were like, I think the game's probably over from that. It was just such a swing. I mean, losing his leader and a 5-threat character, it was just bonkers.
Yeah, Nick Fury can just do that with that much power, right? Like we said earlier, his spender's amazing. The grunts coming in and getting extra shots from him is just really good.
Yeah, exactly. He just threw 22 dice, and that the dice were lucky. There was a lot of crit, so it did just kill everything. But most of the time, that will daze a character.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's great. Okay, cool. So that takes you into round 3, and you're against Angus, who is also playing Web Warriors.
Yes.
Now, I used to be on a team with Angus, and I know exactly what was going through his mind here. He was thinking, I've got this. Because he's a very good webs player and he doesn't rate other webs players very highly. So I think that he came into this being like, I know exactly how to beat Finley. He's got no idea what's coming. Because Angus did quite well in a webs only tournament on TTS a while back, where it was like webs v webs, and he did really well in that. So so
that sounds awful.
I would not want to play in that tournament at all. So the crisis here, we have Struggle for the Cube and Superpower Scoundrels, which is a very webs combo. And I can see from looking at Longshanks that he brought Peter Parker leadership.
Yes, so I think that from what you said, Angus probably did go into the game with confidence until the priority role, where he won prio, which in this kind of mirror match, you really don't want to have prio. You want to have to go last,
right?
Because then you basically guarantee score an extra VP than your opponent every turn, because you're going after them. You have Gwen, you have Miles, you have Spectacular, you have someone who's going to be able to displace your opponent and score an additional VP. So I think going into the squad building, the pressure was really on Angus to come up with a squad that was going to basically just kill me as fast as I could, so that I couldn't get the benefit from being wider and going last.
Mm-hmm.
So he brought ASM, Agent Venom, Miles, Gwen, and Wong.
Okay.
And then I brought, again, just keeping it simple, Miles, Gwen, Black Cat, Spectacular, Lizard, and then I took Wong as well. So I was 6 wide, where he was 5 wide, which was crucial because not only did I already have the last activation, because I was wider, then that just meant that there was more redundancy in that last activation. He would have had to kill 2 web warriors to gain that last activation.
Right, okay.
And also, I did have a little bit of luck in that game where basically I was hitting all of the impact webbing triggers. All of the wilds were going my way, and he would go with his Miles, and he wouldn't even get the wild to push Black Cat off. So I think there was a good amount of luck in the game, and the pressure was immediately on Angus for basically just to stop me doing what I was going to do. I didn't have to think. I was just doing straightforward webs game plan, be wide, displace my opponent and score. And the pressure was on him to kill me and get the extracts off me and stop me scoring.
Yeah, that's cool as well. I love that, because Angus, the beauty of this being 2 really good web warrior players is Angus would have known that from priority, like you say, and spotted that, right, I have to go complete murder here to, because we can see the game playing out in our minds. And that's the beauty of web warriors, is like they're so good, they're so predictable that you can sort of plan out rounds 1 and 2 with them before you've even deployed, right?
Pretty much.
Angus, and bringing Agent Venom as well is a great web warrior to bring in a mirror, right? Because he turns off the defensive rerolls.
Yeah, exactly. I think he did all the right things. The trouble is that webs aren't that great at killing, just ultimately, and webs are great at running away. So I just had such an advantage to begin with, and then luck was on my side as well.
Yeah, nice. I mean, we've seen Spider-Man 2099, who is a bit of some good attacks on that model. Maybe there's some more of that in that affiliation box, and maybe there is a world where there is a punchy webs team come in. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it definitely could be possible. I think it's a very exciting times to be a Web Warriors player. If you're thinking of getting into webs, I would highly recommend it. We've seen the reveals of what's on the horizon, and there'll be a very different play style for playing webs. So, I mean, we spoke about at the beginning of the reason I like webs is because they're so strong in their game plan, but there could be an archetype of webs coming that has a completely different game plan, and you can still have the characters that you love and go and beat the crap out of someone. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Okay, cool. So that puts you through to the final. And what a final. What a final. What we failed to mention here is that Finley is one half of a notorious pairing in the London MCP community. He's one half of the Trendle brothers. Your brother Charlie also plays a lot of MCP and is a very good player, and got to the final with you. So we have a brother versus brother final.
Oh, indeed. And it couldn't have been more stressful.
I was laughing from the other side of the room because Charlie is an absolute, I'm not allowed to swear on this. He likes amping up the competitive side of things. And he was loving it. He couldn't wait to play you in the final. And I could see you were just going completely in the zone of like, oh God, if I lose to Charlie, he's not going to let me forget it.
So we had a drive home after this. I was thinking,
a long drive home.
I can't sit in the car with him after he beats me.
Yeah. So there was a lot to play for. I mean, the tournament itself was secondary. This was about pride. This was about blood.
Honestly, that classic sibling rivalry.
Yeah. So you're against his defenders on Spider Infected and Superpowered Scoundrels. Another Web Warriors friendly setup.
Yeah, so I think his style of missions with the new Crisis, it's not pure attrition. So I think he's sort of got a mixture. I can't remember. Oh no, so I had Prio. I can't remember which one I picked, but one of his missions must have been similar enough to mine that it made sense to pick his, and it was probably his secures, I think. And go with my extracts because he probably wouldn't run my extracts. Now his roster is just to start is really interesting because it's a mixture between Convocation and Defenders. So off the bat, he has a really good play into webs and a lot of characters that are really strong into webs. But he decided to go with Defenders, which you might not expect. But in this Defenders team, he took Daredevil, Shang-Chi, Voodoo, Magic, and Wong.
So very good anti-web stuff in there.
Really good anti-web stuff. Yeah, really good. And then I, in classic fashion, didn't think too much. It was 17th threat. So I took Miles, Gwen, Black Cat, Spectacular, Lizard, and Wong.
Nice.
Six wide, let's not overcomplicate things.
Yeah. That is the thing though, man. Like we talk about it. Me and you have had kind of deep and meaningful chats about MCP. And sometimes you just have to do the thing.
Yeah.
And Web Warriors' version of do the thing is to take those 4 characters.
Yeah.
Just do it. And you're just going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right.
Although, saying that, this game, those characters were certainly not okay. They were getting absolutely abused.
Really?
Shang-Chi was terrifying. Voodoo was terrifying. Magic was just killing people left, right, and center. It was a bloodbath. The game came down to... I think it was tied, or it was maybe 15-14 going into the final round. And then with one final attack, I managed to kill Magic and go up 18-17 or something ridiculous like that. It was such a close game.
So close. Yeah. It's like Obi-Wan and Anakin. You two have trained together for years. Exactly. And you're finally playing each other and you beat him by 1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, am I Obi or am I Anakin?
I guess you won, so you're Obi.
Yeah.
I dread to think what Charlie's comeback arc is going to be.
Darth Vader incoming.
Darth Vader suit. Yeah. But great, cool. So you took the win, 4-0 with Web Warriors. I was very happy for this. I was rooting for you, especially after your kind of bad luck in Brighton, where you were questioning life after losing a bunch of games as Webs. It was good to see that you're able to kind of pull this out of the bag. And it sounds like the thing that you were doing is just do the thing. Do the thing. Web Warriors are extremely strong. They have the best core in the game and the best game plan in the game. Just do it and, focus on your game plan and why you're there and what you've practiced,
Yeah, exactly. And with that being said, there was a bit of luck on my side, which I think is needed.
Oh, yeah.
To probably go 4-0. But, 17th threat came up so often, so I didn't need to think very much.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no one wins a tournament without luck in this game. The dice are too swingy for that. And, Web Warriors have good dice, but they still need them to show up. You need some luck for sure. Cool. All right. So any kind of final remarks on anyone thinking about trying Web Warriors out?
I'd just say do it. Probably prepare to lose a lot of games. It is a very different way of playing MCP. If you've played sort of mid-range or attrition teams and you're thinking, I'm sick of these dice, I'm sick of this randomness, I want some more consistency in how I can win, then the webs are for you. But you do have to bear in mind that it is a pretty different way of playing. Mm-hmm. It was very stressful to learn. I'm still learning, so I definitely don't know everything even. But it's just, it's a different way of playing, and you do have to be prepared to probably lose a lot of games in learning them. And sometimes you can lose on the tiniest things. It can be when you chose to play fullback. It can be when you chose to play spider tracker. So you kind of have to be prepared to learn a lot of lessons.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say I'd echo that with, I've seen a few people pick up Web Warriors and just lose for months, just really struggle. And then, I'm trying to convince them to try something else. And then they keep on with it and they turn around and they become, amazing and they start winning events. I'm thinking of Darren mostly in our community. He lost so much, so many games, and then just became an incredible player off the back of it, was winning events. Went to Spider Foes, which is the affiliation that he loves, and was winning events with them as well. And he credits Web Warriors for that a lot. It teaches you the ultimate way of playing Crisis in this game. Even if you just want to kind of visit Web Warriors on a holiday, it's worth it because you take some learnings back to your other teams.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and the main learning is that Black Cat is too good.
Black
ridiculous.
Cat and Gwen and Miles.
Gwen. Oh, and Miles.
Spectacular.
Oh, it's spectacular. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. All 4 of them are the best 4 characters scoring points in the game. Great. Good stuff. But yeah, cool. All right. Well, thank you, Finn. Anyone else, that would like to try out Web Warriors, please do. If you're on our Patreon, then the list is posted below and you can check it out there. If you're hearing this not on Patreon, it's because you're not a patron and we've put this public for everyone, and that's totally fine. But if you'd like to become a patron, then you could have heard this episode, I guess, like a few days after the tournament that Finn was at. So we try and kind of make these episodes go out during the most kind of meta relevant moments. That's the kind of benefit for being a patron. But if you don't want to be one, that's totally fine. You'll get the episode eventually. So yeah, cool. Thanks everyone. See you next time.
Thank you.